Welcome to Ohio Mysteries. I'm Steve.
And I'm Paula, and we've been doing a podcast for nearly 4 years, sharing all kinds of diverse mysteries about the Buckeye State.
Now we are slowly but surely working to move our episodes to YouTube.
So every other week, we'll give the full visual treatment to an episode. We're talking images, documents, videos. We did one last week. You'll get another one next week.
And in between, you'll get what we're doing today, the audio of one of our short 10-minute mysteries. We'll throw in a few images too.
So today, we're going to recall one of Ohio's lesser-known monsters, but one that made a huge splash in 1882 when it was caught trying to devour a child in Crosswick. That's a village in Warren County.
This was a good one. There was a lot of witnesses to it. As a matter of fact, weren't there torch-wielding townspeople chasing it?
Just like in the movies.
Well, I need refreshed on the details.
That's why we're here. So without further delay, Ohio Mysteries presents the Crosswick Monster.
And folks, if you enjoyed these stories, please hit the like button and be sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any future episodes.
Hi, everybody. Crosswick is a crossroads near Waynesville in Warren County. That's about halfway between Dayton and Cincinnati. No doubt those who settled it way back in 1821 hoped it would grow into a thriving village. But today, it's just a memory. There was only one road passing through it then, and still only one road passing through it now, and no way of knowing exactly how many people consider themselves to be Crosswickians today. It might have been completely gone if it weren't for this one memorable event. It made the news, reported in the Cincinnati Enquirer on May 29, 1882. Truth be told, the folks living in and around Crosswick knew something strange lived in the area. They frequently saw tracks crossing the dirt road that ran through the community, tracks that didn't seem to belong to any known animals of the region. It was said that the villagers didn't try to follow those tracks to learn where their origin came from, out of the belief that if they didn't bother that thing, it wouldn't bother them. They were wrong. 2 boys, Ed and Joe Lynch, ages 13 and 11, decided to go fishing in Satterthwaite's Run, a stream that passes through the south side of Crosswick. They were enjoying the spring day when they heard some rustling in the tall grass behind them. Curious, as children will be, they took a step toward the sound in the reeds to see what was making the noise. They had no way of knowing they were the ones being stalked. Suddenly, a gigantic lizard on 4 thick legs leaped from the brush and chased after them. The thing was easily 30 feet long from its head to the tip of its tail and covered with scales. It was black and white with some dull yellow spots. Its head was at least a foot long, and it whipped out at them a long forked tongue from a mouth that was deep red in its center. The terrified brothers turned and ran toward home, but the lizard, 3 times the size of the boys and much faster, reached them quickly. It caught Ed in its mouth and pulled him to the ground. As described by the newspaper, the snake, or whatever it might be, suddenly threw out 2 long arms, seized the boy in its slimy embrace, simultaneously producing 2 more legs, about 4 feet long. Well, Joe could do little else but scream as the creature dragged Ed along the edge of the stream, about 100 yards, to its den. It was a large sycamore tree, 26 inches in diameter, with a large hole hollowed out at its base. Joe's blood-curdling screams reached the ears of 3 men, the Reverend Jacob Horn, George Peterson, and Alan Jordan. They followed the sounds of terror and came upon the scene. Little Ed looked near death, still in the creature's mouth, and almost completely pulled into the tree. This beast looked completely out of place on a frontier that had plenty of dangerous animals, but not 12 feet long lizards. The approach of the men was enough to frighten the creature. It unfastened its fangs and dropped the boy, then climbed farther up into its hollowed-out home in the tree, out of the men's reach. The boy was their first priority. They took Ed home and sent for the nearest doctor in neighboring Waynesville. Dr. L.C. Lukens arrived to treat him. He told reporters that the boy was in severe shock and had some spasms and convulsions, but otherwise had only minor cuts and bruises. He was going to be okay. Then it was time to rid the community of a would-be child killer. More than 60 residents turned out to destroy the beast, armed with axes, clubs, and hunting dogs. The group marched toward the tree and began to bang on it, expecting the creatures to drop down and attempt to escape from the bottom where it had dragged the boy. Instead, they were taken by surprise when the reptile leaped at them from above. There apparently was also a large hole at the top of the tree. When it hit the ground, the creature stood upright on its hind legs. The men said it was 12 to 14 feet tall when erect. It balanced itself with its tail and ran from the group on 2 feet, some said with the velocity of a racehorse. The vision so stunned the gathering, some of the men leaped away from the creature to let it go rather than confront it. But they soon recovered and followed it. They chased the thing for nearly a mile over a rolling landscape, jumping fences and trotting through streams. Then they watched as the creature charged head first into a hole on the side of one of the many hills that dotted the landscape. The crevice was covered with large rocks, but just as with the tree, there must have been another exit, because while the men and their hunting dogs waited hours for the creature to emerge, it never did, and it was never seen again. As a matter of fact, before long, the Lynch family also left town, never to be seen again. It was said Ed was so hounded by people seeking to hear his story, it was the only way to escape his unwelcomed celebrity status. While everyone who saw it no doubt died thinking they had seen a true aberration, many of them referred to it as the giant salamander. Today we have some ideas of what it might have been. Given its size, color, characteristics, and behavior, modern experts in animal physiology think good candidates include any of the 4 largest living lizards on the planet: the Australian parenti, the Asian water monitor, the New Guinea crocodile monitor, or the Komodo dragon. Clearly the one in Crosswick, if the description was accurate, might have been a record. But it's not uncommon for any of those species to exceed the size of a man. The real mystery here might be its presence in Ohio. Today there are 5 known kinds of lizards living in the Ohio wilds, all of them small enough to fit in your hand. I'm giving credit to a lot of this research to the Pine Barrens Institute, an online reference site that specializes in Midwest folklore. If you like these kinds of stories, you can find more at thepinebarrensinstitute.com.
That's it for today, folks. Come back next week for one of our longer episodes with full video treatment.
And look, if you're into podcasts, be sure to look for Ohio Mysteries on your favorite podcast app. We produce brand new stories every Sunday and Wednesday night.